A massive, organic, uncontrollable, and unprecedented revolt in the post-dictatorship scenario was already unfolding, destroying in practice the obedience, submission, and fear imposed by decades of capitalist rule in Chile, with broad sectors of oppression and precarization of life originate in the continuity of the neoliberal economic system and the police state installed in Chile during the recent civil and military dictatorship. On Saturday, September 19, the military forces are deployed throughout various parts of the city in the face of the persistence and exacerbation of the unrest. In the center of Santiago and in the peripheral neighborhoods, the military guard the streets, commercial areas, and subway stations. However, demonstrators of all kinds did not retreat and generally repudiate the military presence with the vivid memory of the repression experienced a few decades ago during the years of the dictatorship. In 1973, there was a coup d'etat in Chile that ended with the socialist government of Salvador Allende that lasted around 3 years. In the mid-70s, this group of people who have been known now as Chicago Boys, and they had this agreement with the University of Chicago where Milton Friedman was giving lessons and spreading his ideas on what we call now neoliberalism. So Chile was used as a kind of laboratory for these new political measures that right now are not just restricted to what it's Latin America, like we see it everywhere. The transition to democracy in Chile was not, it cannot be understood in terms of like a revolution. Actually, the terms of the transition were established pretty much by the dictatorship.
A lot of public funding goes to the market. So when we go to university, for example, the state give us credit, and that we use to pay the university, but then we have to pay to the banks.
The spread of these mass derivations and the level of radicalism they developed was unsuspected by many and underestimated by the government, which, along with its lawyer journalists and social investigators, still cannot explain why these events led to a situation of widespread chaos that continues to this day.
The riots, the attacks are very symbolic. It's attack on material symbols of a political pact between business corporation and military that built the Chilean state. The metro was a symbol for the political institution in Chile. First, the president violated the constitution, calling this state of emergency.
Between Wednesday, October 23rd and Thursday, October 24th, the government and the repression have tried to show a softer face in the face of the persistence of the demonstrations and the large number of sources of revolt, to which is added the permanent disclosure of evidence of repressive acts and the public knowledge of the use of a subway station as a clandestine detention center with testimonies of torture.
The state of mainstream media, TV, newspapers, etc., it's very monopolized by economic groups. So the truth doesn't come from there. To explore human rights violations. You open your Instagram, your Facebook account, you see a lot of police violations.
It was so obvious that this was gonna happen. Like you could see, like when you're in Santiago, you breathe rage. Like people are just like so pissed off.
Is it an spontaneous social outbreak or is it not? Is it a long term or short term? Of course, it's a long term. But what does it mean to be spontaneous in long term? Is there are organic and inorganic movements occupying the street.
It's a revolt that surpassed any specific demand.
So what does this mean? It means there is not a unique subject in the streets. For me, that says that it's at different layers of society trying to convey their demands to different forms of protest.
But there is a lot of people with political purpose, like doing these kind of things, but it's also a lot of people without political purpose doing these kind of things.
I think that it's a bit dangerous to make that division again, like that division between like the ones who have like political
Because it's part of the
aims
same.
and the ones that not.
Like, letting this chaos continue is making also people like, okay, let's go back to normal.
I think the big fear that my parents and my mother they have is that the dictatorship can come back. If they do too much, the repression is gonna be too much, and we're gonna come back to the dictatorship. I think this and this feeling I think is in my blood too, like in this like traumatic gene.
I think the longer this goes on, the more it becomes a political question in itself.
I want to open the question: in which forms do you have to make a structure and organize something that doesn't have a center?
Even though there is an absence of political mediation, there is a high number of popular self-convened assemblies in territories, mainly in popular parts of the city, but also in universities, hospitals, unions, migrants places. This is happening, and this is providing content from the struggle to different sectors to, I will say, overcome neoliberalism.
We are still experimenting as a country of the US economic system.
A reconfiguration of the state? Is it a restoration of the state? An ending of the state?